David Wells had a pretty good weekend. He made some money. And David's always loved Babe Ruth. You know, this love affair with Babe Ruth and getting memorabilia and actually spending money, and had a Babe Ruth hat. And I remember when he went out and he was pitching, and people said, "Why would you do that? You're gonna devalue that. It's Babe Ruth's hat." And I thought, no, that's why he got it. He wanted to wear it, but he ended up selling it. He's David Wells. He joins us now. David, how are you?
I'm great, Dan. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing okay. How tough was it to part with the Babe Ruth hat?
You know, mixed emotions. When you've had a piece for so long, you know, it's, you look at it, but, it sits in the vault. I don't go in the vault a whole lot. You know, when I have parties at the house or something like that, I'll do that. But other than that, it's, I just sat down. When some guy offered me some money, I'm like, well, I'm going to look into it and see what it's really all about. And then I heard this other number. I'm like, whoa.
But what you bought it for was how much?
$35.
35.
Yeah.
And you sold it for $527.
$537. That SCP auction house can get you some dough, can't they?
How many times did you wear that hat in a game?
I wore it that one time in '97 against Cleveland, and Joe Torre wasn't too thrilled about it. He kind of got mad at me for wearing it, and he ended up fining me for it. But it was well worth it. You get something like that, you bring back the Babe back into the house that he built, and it was kind of cool.
Wait a minute. How much did Joe Torre fine you for wearing the hat?
Like $2,500.
Okay, but what was his problem with you wearing the hat?
It wasn't required uniform. The NY on it was a little bit smaller than the hats that we had, but it still had NY on it. I just think it was kind of shallow because it just was cool. It's a historical piece. Babe Ruth wore it in that stadium years before, and then, I buy it and I wear it. I didn't care what he said. I'm wearing it no matter what. He could have fined me $10,000. I still would have wore it.
Did you ever feel like you needed to embrace the Babe Ruth lifestyle as much as you love Babe?
Dan, come on. Don't you think I did? Not intentionally, but just my MO kind of.
How do you think that party would have been if you were back then with Babe or Babe was with you now?
We'd still be going, probably. No, it was pretty neat. I mean, I enjoyed New York. I love New York. New York's it's a great city. It's it's a second home to me. But there's just so many things that you can do there. You can hide. The fans were great because they don't bother you. David Cohn and I will go walk around and and it's like, hey Boomer, hey Coney, whatever. But it's more me because they don't recognize him, and he lives there, and I'm the one getting bombarded, but. It's really not a bombardment. It's just, hey, it's an occasional, hey, and an autograph.
Would you rather pitch to Babe Ruth or party with Babe Ruth?
Both.
Well, no, you got to pick.
Pick?
Yeah.
You know what? I would rather party with him because there was other guys in the league that were pretty good too. Not as good as him, but I would just do that. I'd just be his suitcase. What was that? What was his name up in Oakland? I mean, in Anaheim. Jimmy, the old coach with the Angels, and he was roommate.
Reese?
Yeah.
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 Wow.
Yeah, so he just saw his luggage half the time.
What other memorabilia you have?
Well, I had the Thurman Munson shin guards that were in there. I had those. I have there was a jersey that sold in there. I bought at one point. Supposedly it was Babe Ruth's jersey, and his last jersey he wore as a Boston Brave, and it was Wally Berger was number 3 at the time, but it could have been his. He could have worn it in spring training or whatever it was. So you can't really sell something like that. That's because they do all the testing now. Back when I bought it, they didn't have any of that type of testing.
It was 14 years ago. 14 years ago last week, you threw the perfect game.
Yes, on the 17th. Yeah.
What do you have from that game?
I have everything. I even got, what the cool piece I have is I have the rubber from the mound that they tore out and gave it to me, and then they put in a new one. And I had someone did a painting on it with the scoreboard on the back, and I had the Minnesota Twins sign it, and I forgot to get the New York Yankees to sign it. But I could get that. I can probably find those guys. We're all still kicking, so I can get that done eventually.
Wait, the Twins signed it?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
No, was really cool. It was a very nice gesture on their part. And I see Ron Gardenhire all the time, and he always carries the ticket from for Perfect Game. And then the one time that he didn't bring it, I was doing the game with TBS, and he told me about the story. I said, well, just send it to me. He goes, no, I will see you. And Ron's a great guy, and he was first base coach, I think, back then in 98 when I threw the game.
But do you feel, what, then it came out that you were hungover when you threw the no-hitter, looking back on it?
Right.
Did you feel bad that you said that?
No, not really. I mean, you know me, I speak my mind. I'm pretty honest. But at the time, it was like, I don't care. I went out and I did it. I was out the night before. I was at Saturday Night, guest with Lorne Michaels at Saturday Night Live, and and I was all intentions of going home, and Marcy Klein started egging me on. She goes, Dennis Rodman had his best game after going to a Saturday Night Live party. I'm like, well, that's Dennis Rodman, not me. And I'm like, well, what did he do? He goes, he had like 20-something rebounds. I'm like, okay, let's go. It twist my arm, and, that it just happened. And I didn't get home till like 5:30 or so in the morning, knowing I had to pitch. I wasn't feeling too hot, Dan.
What?
A lot of coffee.
Yeah, I'll bet you were sweating. You were sweating up a storm when you got there.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Who was on Saturday Night Live at the time? Did you go out for the after-hours party?
Yeah.
Well, they go till 5.
Yeah, I was with Jimmy Fallon, I think Seth Meyers, what's his name? The whole cast.
Okay.
I was with them, and it was pretty good. We had a blast. It was fun. A lot of fun.
Are you going to? Do you continue to collect memorabilia?
I have little pieces, here and there. Some of the newer players that are out, maybe I'll get a ball or something signed from them and all that. But like the big pieces, no. Because my son, he's going to graduate in about 4 or 5 years, and I'm selling this house that I'm in. I live here in Rancho Santa Fe, and it's a beautiful home, beautiful piece of property. But I just can't. It's just going to be my wife and I, and so I'm going to start selling everything off. I don't need to, but it'd be the smart thing to do because I don't want to put it in storage.
Why don't you send the jock? Can we get the jock strap from the Perfect Game put up in the man cave? Is that
dude? That is mine. I'll send you one. I'm sure I could conjure up one somewhere.
Well, no,
because I saved all my jerseys. I got every jersey, every team I played for. I have jerseys, and I ordered like 4 or 5 every year and wore them. And I wore them all through the season. And then I would trade them out for jerseys. I see, you got jerseys on your wall as well. And, I've got Cal Ripken jersey, but I got the whole team signed, on a bunch of mine. So that's the kind of stuff that I did.
Yeah, but I want to – we're talking to David Wells. I want the jockstrap from the Perfect Game.
Well, if I could go look for it, I'll do it. I know you got Kevin McCauley, I think, from the Entourage. I think you got his bong. Where's that bong at?
I got Jerry Ferrara, Turtle sent it. It's in the bar area here.
Oh, okay. I remember I was watching that show, and I was cracking up, man. That was pretty funny. That was one of my favorite shows.
I will hang the jockstrap from the bong that Turtle sent in.
Well, I'll look for it, and I'll find, because I know I saved every particle of that piece, and from that day, and it's in a locker. I put everything in there next to the World Series jersey.
Good.
We won the World Series there as well. Yeah.
Before I let you go, I know being an analyst now, are you asked about the Clemens trial? Do you weigh in? Do you have what comes to mind? Here's Clemens on trial here for perjury.
I have not paid one bit of attention to that. I've been so busy coaching my high school at Point Loma High School, and I've had a couple requests, but I've declined them because we've got baseball a couple games during the week with the Pointers, and that's all I've been doing.
But how tough? I mean, the story never goes away. We change the names, but it still comes back to what happened during the steroid era. How tough is it for you that guys you faced, teammates, played against, played with?
Well, it just it sucks to the fact that I played in the steroid era, and I pitched against all those guys that were doing them or supposedly doing them, and and to me, it's like '98. I had a pretty good year. 2000, I had a pretty good year. I think I was second or third in Cy Young voting, and and you got these guys you got this guy that's allegedly, was on steroids, and he had a great year, but he had great years prior to that, but who knows? And I always look at it this way: you're innocent until proven guilty. And I was teammates with Roger. I think he's funny. He's a great guy. I've never had a problem with him, but sometimes you put yourself in a situation, and if you can't remember all the things that have gone on, this is what's going on with them, and you feel bad for a guy because he's had such a great career.
You ever offered it steroids?
No. As a matter of fact, I haven't. I was too big. I was fat. But that's the thing. I did it with going out and doing not that thing, but the other things, drinking a little bit, eating a lot of it, and all that kind of stuff. But but it was good. I had a good career. I wouldn't change anything. I mean, I thought my career was pretty good at being in the steroid era. I mean, I put some pretty good numbers up, and to me, that's I'm content with that.
Well, good luck being the high school coach there at Point Loma. Do you say do as I say, not as I did, or?
I talk to the kids, and my head coach Jesse Nunez. He's and he reiterates the things that we go in there and we just try to tell them the positive things. I try to give them stories of everything that I've done in the major leagues and things that I've learned, things that I've watched. I said, and if you guys want to be in that plateau, I said it starts right here, and we got some pretty good listeners. So I mean, hopefully we can reach them and get to them and create some monsters out there on the diamond.
We anxiously await your jockstrap, David, here in the Man Cave.
Well, I'll tell you, Dan, when I go out there and I find it, I will call you and I will FedEx it to you with a happy smile.
Oh, you're going to put a happy smile on the jockstrap?
What the hell?
Good to talk to you, Boomer.
All right, Dan, you guys take care. Keep up the good work.
All right, David Wells, TBS analyst. What is he, two-time World Series champ, I believe? And selling off his memorabilia there.